Right, thank you for staying with us. This is the way it is on Sunrise Live. We have Martin Muto with us and Louis Otieno. Okay. My apologies to your ancestors and to your mother as well. It was a slip of the tongue. I didn't just do that.
You have to go and appease the gods.
Tell me, what do we need? Do we need a black chicken?
I'll give you a list of the things you have to take. All those things you have to take. Some are black, some are white. You're in trouble.
I have to go look for a lion's
You're
tooth
in
or
trouble.
something.
You're in trouble.
All right, my apologies to your parents and your heritage. Louis Otieno is with us this morning as well. Okay, so with everything we've discussed, let's go to what's happening in South Africa. And this is not about Nelson Mandela. Of course, now we know it's being reported that he's in critical condition. And by the way, I will still stay away from the people that say, oh, we need to let go. I don't even think it's us that let go. Because guess what? I'm not the one who holds your life. I think, yeah, that's for... as Norman Nyaga said when he was here on Livewire with James Smart, my friend upstairs, the man upstairs, he referred to him in so many different ways, but I do think that's a decision for God to make, not for us to even discuss. It is not debatable. But let's talk about what's happening within the ANC. And you know, since coming into power in 1994 with Nelson Mandela, he then stepped down, Thabo Mbeki took over, and then there started to be quite an amount of disquiet within the party. Reports of excesses going on, and then we know what Malema did, and you know, coming out and saying, well, nothing's happening. The big one is over the weekend we hear reports of Desmond Tutu leaving ANC to join an opposition party. It's called Agang SA. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. AGANG, South Africa. I know it sounds, yes, I'm pretty sure, I'm hoping that's that, but you know, and he's talking about the same things that are happening within ANC. Martin, what are your thoughts on that?
When you have a person of the stature of Desmond Tutu leaving ANC, ANC ought to be worried. There's something very wrong that is happening within that country. And you can see also on the other end, the Malema on the other hand is leading another front. And he has quite a formidable support in terms of the people he's been leading. The youth league there that he's been leading. Right. And now he was even causing a lot of shockwaves when he was supposed to go to Botswana to go and address some opposition meeting, and that raised a lot of storm. I haven't followed how it went, but it raised a lot of storm, and the government was not very keen on him coming there, because the last time he was there, he criticized the president there, and it didn't go very well. So, and back at home, he has a very formidable support. And looking at the way, if Malema is leading on this front, and then Desmond Tutu is pushing away on the other side.
The young and the senior citizens
you can see that kind of combination is going to hurt ANC very badly. And whichever way they're going to go, whatever kind of, let's say, rot that has been in ANC, it will now come out public. Because believe you me, Desmond Tutu will not stand on the other side and keep quiet. He will say the things that he's always used to saying, the way they're supposed to be said. And it's going to hurt the Zuma's president. So it's an unfolding story that we're going to see, because it's not going to die away very soon, because a lot of criticisms are going to come their way, and I'm watching very keenly to hear what Desmond Tutu will be talking about.
And to be fair, and let's, you know, Julius Malema is himself a very polarizing figure. He's made some rather controversial statements, you know, including, you know, takeover of a land that's owned by the whites in South Africa, you know, making some very controversial statements himself. But Desmond Tutu, on the other hand, you know, not so much the same figure as Malema.
Malema is seeing gaps. And as a typical politician, he wants to exploit those gaps. The kind of style is sort of expounding and exposing other shows that he is seeing gaps which he feels, and he is given the brevity to do it because it's a constituency. He's not doing it in the dark. And so he will continue doing this until either it becomes impossible to do it, or the traction becomes big enough for him to be an influential figure enough to change the course of politics of South Africa. Desmond Tutu will, first of all, say why he moved. That alone will be a lot of trouble for ANC. When you have Desmond saying, I left, and this is why. Because he's not going to pull any punches. He will say why. But you remember, at the time Thabo Mbeki Mbeki took charge, a lot of people never recognized that he's going to give leadership.
That's right, yes.
And they felt, here's the gap, and we don't know when it will be bridged. So no matter how charismatic or able Zuma was going to be, some people argue that that gap that opened up during Thabo Mbeki's stewardship was too wide to bridge. And so these are the results of those cracks that are opening. Remember, Thabo Mbeki is a guy who is known for firing off emails in the dead of night. And people say, when is this president sleep? That's the kind of chap he was. He was good for what he was, but he was not the kind of guy who inspired that sort of total followership from the party.
This just takes me to the parties that lead countries into independence, and how at some point they either die or, you know, they get a different face. If you take a look at ANC, although for ANC it's happening, you know, a little sooner than for most, from 1994 to date, and you know, there's huge cracks that are starting to show in ANC. You know, we have KANU here, you know, and that's sort of the same thing that happened. You know, for these parties that usher a country into independence, do they have a time span? And you know, we just say, okay, thank you very much. You did a noble job. You brought us through independence, and you know, let's hand it over to a new breed of leadership.
They have a time span if and when the leadership does not conform to the signs of the times. That's so far as that goes. If they tend to change with the times, then they'll be able to stay relevant and credible. But when they lose track and believe that they're just because they're the ones who brought in independence and they're supposed to die there with the people, then there's a problem.
Do you think that's sort of what happens? Complacency? That we delivered independence to the people and therefore they will continue to love us? Could that have been the same thing that happened with KANU here?
That's the same thing, thing that happened. And they didn't see the signs on the wall when things were changing.
Right.
And they could not, if they had quickly metamorphosized into a different sort of scenario, believe me, they would even be in power now. You can see the kind of situation we have in Zimbabwe. They have even sort of like brainwashed the generals there who are also now in politics completely, and they believe that if you are not a war hero, you are not supposed to lead this country.
Right.
Yes. That's a very wrong notion that we have with people, and with time they will realize when they get out of power very fast, they will not realize what actually hit them. So it is that kind of situation that is also happening in South Africa.
And then of course
the
with what's happening,
because the complacency comes in because it creeps up with this feeling of entitlement. We've done the biggest job. You owe us. That's one of the challenges that will creep up. The other thing is, historically, it was not really the name of the party. If you look at African politics, there was a charismatic leader. There was certain individuals who stood out, who championed this fight. They became known across the country, across the continent. They became people, whether you understand from ANC and go to Patrice Lumumba and go to what happened in other West African countries, these people stood out. And then it becomes very difficult
for someone to
come and step in and say, I will now lead where Mzee Kenyatta led. Okay. And it becomes very difficult. That becomes the story for the country. It becomes the historical tablet.
So the leader's name and that of the party becomes synonymous?
Yes.
Nelson Mandela,
you have
ANC,
the leader's name.
Okay.
In fact, you have the leader's name, Independence Day, then the party.
Okay.
It's very difficult to step up and say, I will top that.
Right.
So if it's not a complacency, it's that it's those the boots are just too big to fill. So what happens is people then think, let me start an alternative, and not to upset the country also. See, if that party brought in independence, you don't want to have this argument where the citizens will start thinking you're being disrespectful to people who did the big job.
Absolutely.
So what you need to do is open a different door, where you can now go in and throw your punches and people will regard you for the newness that you brought in, and they will say, this position remains revered. Leave it alone as it is. So that causes people to branch out and start new things. But also in that writing of history, that is what Desmond is trying to say. He's saying when the history of this country is written in terms of how we delivered ourselves of apartheid, I want to be counted on this side of that discussion. So at his advanced age, instead of saying, I'm done, I'll go home and sit it out, he's conscious that there will be a tablet written.
Okay.
So he's trying to say, I want to be on this side. And that's what needs to be questioned.
Okay.
Why wouldn't he want, I mean, it's this close, to have the entire ANC legacy written? It's a bit close before you start talking of that new leadership and
Yes.
what. But his actually jumped ship and said, I want Hishu to count me on this side of this discussion. It's a very serious situation for
It
them.
is, yes, absolutely. Let's come back to the country now, and our country and what's happening in Nigeria. Just a very quick thoughts. I know we touched on this last week.
Are you in our country or are you in Nigeria?
I'm not really sure, because some of us are here, but these are the 12 individuals
Who are there.
And you know, it's been what, 20 days now, almost 20 days.
Yes, those are almost, those are two weeks and plus.
Yes, and their families are the ones that I really feel for in all of this back and forth. Do you think the government is doing enough to secure the release before we even get into how we got ourselves into this situation
That
in
is
the first
where we have
place?
to start from.
Okay, fine. Let's begin from there.
Where else can we go?
How did we get ourselves into such a debate?
That is what this government needs to explain to us, because it means we have a very skewed foreign policy that we are dealing with here. How, I mean, the Cabinet Secretary for Foreign Affairs needs to tell us, how is this happening? First, how did this happen? We got a jet. We got people who are thrown out, tucked into a jet. While the process of deportation followed.
Did we speak to the Nigerian government and say,
that's
we're
part of the
bringing
process.
back,
Part of the
yes,
process.
exactly.
We have this and this, and we have a deportation order. Did we follow the right channels and go to court? And who signed the deportation orders? Because I remember at that time when they were being thrown out, my very good friend Githu Mugai was acting in whatever
Interior.
yes, that one.
Interior design.
I didn't say it. He was
That word.
he was acting then. So
And has since gone mute.
exactly, he is the one who should tell us what did he sign the deportation order, because he knows about when you're deported, the deportation order has to be signed. You have to go to a court. You have to get a magistrate to do all these things, kind of stuff. Well, that process followed, and was the Nigerian government alerted that we have these undesirable characters in this country who are supposed to be back at your place so that you can deal with them, or was this something that was hurriedly done because Uhuru Kenyatta made statements?
Yes,
at some
yes.
public functions,
Okay.
and now
can I
Brazilia's
ask?
police officer took over.
Allow me to ask, so we're deporting certain persons. We charter a flight and we have 12 people to escort Chinedu and 2 others, and most of them were GSU officers. Were they I mean, okay, I don't know. I mean, the security surrounding, I just don't understand. 12 people in a chartered flight.
We brought this up last week, and we said, how dangerous is Chinedu, that he has to have all these people
Guarding him,
to steward
yes.
him. That's one outing those officials will live to regret. Even if they had other designs for it, they're done. But if this thing has reached this level, I do not want to believe Nigeria and Kenya are 2 countries that are diplomatically apart to the extent that they cannot
resolve this quickly.
and resolve this thing.
Yes.
That means somebody isn't telling us exactly what the problem is. And probably the Nigerians are giving Kenyans a grace to say, why don't you tell your citizens exactly what you didn't do right? Because others, I don't think they have a problem shouting about it. They will soon give their side of the story. In fact, unfortunately now, and you guys who are heavy on social media, now, when the Nigerians start taking this big brother role and start saying small brother is misbehaving, and they start giving this crazy stories about the people are being persecuted, they're being rounded up for their business ability, the monies they wield. That becomes a conversation, really, we do not need to have as Kenyans. We don't need that.
And enough, do you think enough is being done to get these people back home?
I think it's too little that is being done for me, in terms of, you cannot have your citizens being held hostage in another, because that's what is happening. They're being held hostage in another country, and it means that the international relations between you and that country have ground to a halt. Just the same way they have grounded your plane.
The inference there is that we actually have no diplomatic ties.
Absolutely.
So now we we're actually hoping for arbitration intervention at the UN level.
And I really do think that Chinedu, I don't know, you know, there's the talk of, did we not know how powerful he was? I don't know. Methinks is taking advantage of this situation, you know, to say, yes, this is me, this is
gaps,
me.
And he's exploiting them.
Because I'm not inclined to believe that this is Chinedu's doing. I think this is the government of Nigeria saying, we don't know what's happening here. We don't know what this is. And until we get an explanation. And I think this is just classic Chinedu saying, I told you so. I told you. I'm a powerful person.
The thing you have to give the Nigerian government, it's not as if they're not aware that they have people who are bad, let's just say bad people within themselves. But what they do is they have a country pride.
Yes,
where they defend their own.
Absolutely.
All right, they defend their own.
As we would do if any of our own was deported in the same way.
Do we have a history of being that aggressive? No.
Well, okay.
No.
One can only hope, right? Yeah,
in
absolutely.
many areas.
Yeah, that's right.
Even in sports, we have a challenge. I mean, we have to rally Kenyans to support Kenya. That is something which shouldn't be happening. Yeah. So these people are saying, even if we have bad eggs, they're ours to deal with.
Yes.
You don't make the call.
Exactly.
And now we found ourselves in a space where it is fast becoming something which almost needs to be tabled at a UN level. Because really, does that mean we have no way of this two governments sitting and saying,
down, yeah.
What happened? Okay,
yeah.
Give us our jobs. You decide what you want to do with that job.
Yes, I mean, release them in the interim while we figure out a better way to deal with this in the future.
That's why I'm looking at it as a diplomatic goof we've entered into. Because if there was a problem on the first day, I would have expected either the foreign affairs secretary here to have engaged with the ambassador here, or could have taken the next flight to go and meet the counterpart in Nigeria, and with a serious sort of diplomatic team to deal with this matter. It shouldn't take 20 days. A plane is grounded there. People are held hostage there. Their families are suffering here. They cannot understand whether their people are going to come back. And this government is saying we are dealing with this thing diplomatically.
But we don't see
any progress.
This is an act now of aggression, and that's what it is now boiling down to. Why are our people unable to come back home? Make a declaration. Are you holding them there as criminals? Are you holding them there as so you want to exchange prisoners?
Walls of war.
Like what happens between Israel and Palestine?
We've got 10 of yours. You give us 10 of ours.
Yes.
Why should that thing take 20 days?
That's right.
Something is amiss. And these are the things which in this country we don't need to have situations where such rudimentary actions become mysterious happenings, and 20 days later now we're feeling for the families. Initially we laughed at them and said, who are these chaps? But now it's got to a level where it's not funny anymore. You're looking and saying, what does that government of Nigeria mean to be able to behave in that manner and have our people
why do we not
say
consider
nothing?
and why do we not consider this priority? Because these are, you know, Kenyans who, by the way, were sent there by their employer.
But why is it so easy to bully us from Migingo to our borders on this other side? We are so easy to bully. People making incursions into this country, kill and maim, strut back to their country.
But this is when I think I miss former President Moi. If you recall, when we had issues with Uganda, return the cattle, or else in 24 hours.
No, but even
you won't like it. And you know, it was Museveni said, okay.
Even the late Mzee was very clear on that.
Yes.
We had a certain pride. He would not back down.
Absolutely.
But now we are the ones who are talking about let's have a discussion about it. Migingo became embarrassing. Our borders are just porous. No, either side you look at it, there'll be stories. In fact, even as we're discussing this Mandera issue, one of the stories we're hearing is they've come, made incursions, and gone back to their country.
Then
we don't protect our own.
That becomes a report that Kenyans are now supposed to get used to. It's a regular report. Meanwhile, some guys came and jumped us, but they've gone, so let's find out what the losses are.
That's it points to the foreign policy that we have. What is our foreign policy in terms of dealing with other countries, like Nigeria, for instance? What is our foreign policy in terms of when people are getting into a country and doing whatever manners of things and doing, and
we allow that to happen? You know, when you take a look at even what happens, and we like to compare ourselves a lot to the United States, if even one of their citizens, even one, you know, is held in a country, it is all forces of the law will make sure that,
I think our problem,
like
you said, begins with the things we have allowed to happen.
Yes.
With previous administrators, we have allowed people to come and set up shop here illegally. They become so powerful because they're in bed with members of government. So, and that's why people are now laughing at us. Nigeria is laughing at us because they're asking very basic questions. How did these guys come and set up shop there and get to that level? You want to shout about them now?
Yes.
All these people who bully us and coming from either side of the borders or flying, it is because their people have a legacy already. They do what they want, they get away with it. And I told you the other day, when I see the Chinese guys jumping out of parastatal plates and GK plates, if you even have an altercation with that guy, he's going to tell you everything from the top of his head because he knows I'm covered.
Or even the Atur brothers. I mean, you know, the examples are endless. The Atur brothers who came in and they were what? Assistant commissioners or deputy police commissioners? I mean, I mean, I think and this is not how I would handle my house, for example. My house is sacred. You don't come in unless I want you to. It's the same way we should handle the country.
That was just atrocious.
I know, right? With the Atur brothers?
That was atrocious. By the time we actually,
it was a joke, but it wasn't funny.
Writing it, printing it, and somebody actually signs Deputy Assistant Commissioner of Police, some guy from fell off the moon. We don't even know him. So if, you know, that's why people are laughing at us now. They say, if you guys are the guys who could host the truth, you're going to give us grief about our Chinedu.
Not at all.
And how long has Chinedu been in the country anyway, as an illegal, as we now claim?
For ages, and who was raising, how, if you're illegally here, how do you stay in a country where you're not working?
And how does he make investments?
Exactly. It means there is people who are profiting from his investment.
And he was married. How is he here illegally? That's what I don't understand.
To the comfort level where now they are children.
We have to look at these children.
They were not sneaked in.
No, they were born here.
The comfort and his children. So now the Nigerians are saying, oh, so now today he's a problem. Really?
All this time. Okay.
So deal with it. It means there are people who have been benefiting now. Now they want to throw him out so that they can continue benefiting from
so
his
there's
process.
so much.
Those are the characters we need to deal with.
We're embarrassing ourselves.
We must remove the roots.
We're embarrassing ourselves.
To deal with the branch.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. Oh, we're running out of time now, and I wanted us to talk about Obama coming to Africa. He's skipping Kenya, and I think one of the stories in the dailies today, Obama comes to Africa and Uhuru Kenyatta's headed to the Far East. And I think though he'll start with Uganda, Tanzania, you know, as he heads off to Moscow and China and Japan. But here's the thing, you know, Al Jazeera was reporting this story over the weekend. They're saying Obama fever in Africa is dying. There's not so much excitement as there was in the beginning when he was inaugurated. In fact, there's some protests that are slated to take place in Johannesburg, you know, protesting his visit to South Africa. But the question is, did we have unrealistic expectations about Obama?
No, but
when we say Obama fever is dying, why would we be excited about Obama being president?
Look, this guy has been there how many years now? So what did Al Jazeera expect? That every other end month there would be a party in some part of the continent. Obama is president, let's have a party. I mean, come on. People have got stuff to do. The sitting governments in Africa have got work to do.
But you know what? I do understand why they would have a story like that, Obama fever dying, because aren't we the ones who are up in arms? Oh, Obama is skipping Kenya. Oh, he shouldn't have. Oh, how
but
dare he?
they're saying
it's about the
Obama fever in Africa.
Okay.
They didn't single out Kenya.
But when you think about it, how many countries are upset and miffed when he released his itinerary? Oh, he's not coming to our country.
Well, there's a part where now everybody can talk about anything. So really, that's a conversation that really holds no water. And I told you when this conversation started, why are we arguing with somebody who hasn't even spoken about it? Until they released a statement the other day.
Right.
You know, as Kenyans, we're very quick to argue. We have an argument with a ghost. We have an argument with, I mean, your good friend Kathy is being unveiled. Is it today?
Yes.
After an argument that has drawn out for how long?
Right.
Right. So we have this thing of engaging with ghosts. Now, until a statement is given is when we can now give a statement in response. So why should we make that a theme for discussion every other day? The guy has got a plan. Let him go on with the schedule. There's nothing owed.
When will we understand, Martin, that he is the president of the United States of America? What will it take for us to understand that?
Okay, it will take a long time because, like Louis' cousins cannot take that.
But also, they should let my cousin run his schedule. The guy is on the job, man. Let him do his job.
And it's not us who put him on the job.
In Kogelo Market when he was a nobody. So
and if you recall, do you recall when he was senator and when he came, certain statements were being made by certain people within government who are now elected officials. What did we call him again? Junior senator coming to Kenya. You recall that?
Yeah.
And then now, oh, he should come to Kenya.
Absolutely.
Well, it's in an open space like this. Let the conversation continue. But it's not a conversation that it should border on now a policy statement where now, it's an issue, it's not coming. It's not an issue.
Okay. All right. Let's move to something that is an issue very quickly. The LSK, has stepped into what's happening with the Mau Mau payouts.
Okay.
Well, yeah.
Where have they been?
That's a very good question because now they've now stepped in. They've jumped in.
Are they giving lawyers to go and defend people or what?
No. That's what maybe they should have done before.
What are they stepping in to do?
They want the list of beneficiaries to be, they just want to make sure that the money goes to
the right
who it should go to. And the Vasily Day, and of course, Lydia have said they're going to cooperate. But there's a lot of feeling amongst many people that while Paul Mwite, the Kenya Human Rights Commission, and Lee Day and all the others that were involved, the LSK took a step back, didn't offer any sort of legal advice and assistance, and then now comes in to say, oh, okay, hold up a second. Let's make sure that this is being done well. Their intentions are well-meaning. Of course, it's important that the money goes to who it's supposed to go to in the first place. But is there anything to suggest that it may not go to the beneficiaries?
This, like we said, is a very organized group. When they started this process, it was a very organized group. Led by a very good friend, Gitu Kahengeri.
A man with a plan.
That's a man I respect very much.
He is a man with a plan.
They had all that. They had all that cut out. They got Paul Mwite, they got Gitobu Manyara. They decided this matter that they're going to pursue.
And people laughed.
And people were laughing all over.
Yeah,
said, how can this happen? Did it happen 1963 or before 1963?
Right.
How do you expect the British to pay on this kind of thing? But now when proceeds are beginning to come out, then it is beginning to arouse interest now. I've had so many Mau Maus from all over the country. I didn't know we had Mau Mau.
All of a sudden there's a huge band of freedom fighters and thinking, wow.
And don't forget who will follow this, because we've been talking about the Samburu broke millionaires. This is a whole industry unto itself.
There's an industry opening up to this.
And now
everybody's
the commercial.
You need me because they can't pay you directly, so you need a lawyer.
Yeah.
So let me help you.
Paul Mwite has done a great job. Give it to him. He did what he did. And he knows the people who... There's a list of the people who went to file that case.
Yes.
So it's not
that list is there,
from the moon. No.
And that's the same list of the people... Those are the beneficiaries.
Who are the beneficiaries?
Those will be the ones that will be paid.
But then he said this was, when I spoke to him the last time, he told me this was just the first phase.
Right.
They're going to go into the second phase because the people who are being paid are only the people who are alive.
Yes.
There are many people who died.
Right.
There are people who are...
And their families need to...
Families, people who died in mass graves. I didn't know there was a mass grave in Kiambu here, where there are people who are witnessing guys who are even being...
So what we're saying is this is a very, the process is very well known. The beneficiaries are well known.
For the first phase, they're very well known.
Okay.
For the second phase, that's what
Paul Mwite
was saying. Now it is up to government to pick it up from there.
You remember these very lonely pictures, page 10, 12, there's a picture sent from London when we went to London.
Absolutely.
The LSK was not there.
Well, I didn't see anything saying LSK. I saw Gitu, I saw the Paul Mwite, and you see a picture of them, and Muthoni Wanyeki. We saw them,
right.
but it was tucked in some in the middle there, a small caption, more guys, and they'll be picketing. Then guys would just turn the page quickly. But now there's like stop. This is the page. We want to talk about these guys.
And
It's
we want to-
payday. Come on.
So if LSK is stepping in, they can step in the second phase together with government and be able to take over the next phase so that they can ensure more people who are not included in this can be able now to, in that organized way, they can be able to be to deal with that phase. I believe that would be the correct way to go.
Okay.
But in terms of this first phase, this is all done. The people who fought for that,
There's a renaissance now.
They are known. And
There's a new wave.
There's a new wave, yes, absolutely. Very quickly now, the next 7 days, and feel free to rope in Kathy now as the unveiling. It reminds me of a dowry thing, where the bride is hidden and she's wearing a lasso, and the man is supposed to pick out his bride, and voila, and then they unveil. Oh my God, it's Kathy. Okay, no, I'm just taking that.
I know. That's Makueni. Me, I'm not even losing sleep over that. I'm not feeling with it anyway. The Makueni people have the right to choose whoever they want.
Okay.
That is their business.
Right.
We ought not to pretend to interfere with what they're going to do.
Indeed. Even if it's a national discussion, it really is about the people of Makueni.
Yes,
all right.
it has
So
nothing to
what
do
is it
with
that's
us.
piquing your interest over the next 7 days?
What is piquing my interest is that while Obama is coming to Tanzania or whatever, Uhuru is picking a plane to Asia. I think he should have made the first stop in Nigeria. That would have been the best place. Maybe if he can go to Uganda and the other place, if he could have just stopped first in Nigeria, have a chat with Goodluck, Jonathan. Maybe that would help. I believe so.
Might also give him some good luck for.
Yeah, absolutely. Before heading wherever they're going, then I think they're supposed also to have the vetting ended, and the principal secretaries we want to hear the reports that are going to come into Parliament.
You
can see what happened in the last week. For me, it is a disaster, especially when I watched the vetting of who's this? No, Kibishu.
Yes, Karanzi Kibishu. Yes,
and the chairman of the committee was trying now to speak for him. That was a disaster. It shows how what we have reduced this vetting into. It's something that when we put it in the constitution, it was well-meaning to ensure that we get the right people.
And we've seen it happen very well with the judges, right? Because the vetting of the judges and magistrates, still ongoing. But with the judges, we did see some heads roll and people saying, okay, people appealing the decisions. Okay, all right, very quickly. Sorry, Mark.
So that really hurt, and I for sure. Well, if what went by last week, I don't think we'll expect much in terms of when it comes to Parliament tomorrow.
Okay,
those names are going
They're going to sail through. Okay, Louis, 7 days from today.
7 days. Sort out this part with Nigeria. It's long overdue. We are past being embarrassed now. Just sort it out. I'm waiting on the retreat and hoping that we'll have a formidable alternative voice to get Duale to do some serious work eventually, and Bunge. And I was optimistic, but I did warn this vetting thing, it can take a dive.
Yes.
And now I don't see how it can be salvaged.
Okay.
It's just become in a bracket with the words impunity, continuity, laxity, ineptitude. You'll find vetting in that bracket.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Sorry, before you go. Also, I hope before Uhuru also takes the plane, we will have sorted this issue of the teachers.
Right.
Because we have a problem there.
Right.
We will sort this thing out this week, and also deal with the issue of insecurity on the Mandera, what has happened in Mandera, so that the fellows who are behind this can be brought to book. And also give some fresh impetus in terms of how we handle security.
Absolutely.
That would be, for me, I would look forward to that.
So let's wait and see what happens with that one.
Security and the teachers have to
indeed, and we must never tire of making sure that they get what is due. Okay, we're quickly running out of time, but I really have got to read this tweet because I think it's so interesting. From Mawira J, you say, well, what would the headline in America read? President Uhuru Kenyatta skips the US in his international tour? That is amazing, Mawira. I think that's just the winning tweet of the day for me. Do you think in America they're losing sleep? That President Uhuru Kenyatta, oh my goodness, is going to Japan and to China. And then, of course, the people in America will be saying, but how can he not? After all, our president, comes from Kenya and he should have made a stop over here. What does that mean for Kenyan-American relations? That's not a headline you're likely to see, but thank you for that, Maria J. All right, we want to wind up our discussion and the show this morning, and I want to do that with my quote of the day. And here goes. Education is what survives when what has been learned has been forgotten. Education is what survives when what has been learned has been forgotten. So think about that as we focus on what's happening within the education sector today. Thank you for staying with us and for your comments. It's been great. The discussions are great as always, and we really do love your feedback. Tomorrow is Inspirational Tuesdays. Who will we have? You would wait to find out. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care and have a very good day. Bye-bye.